Hey everybody, before we start the video, if you like the content that you see here, please like, comment, and subscribe and share for more content like this, and let's get into it.
I am not your boss. I am your king.
What's up everybody, this is the Almighty Pharaoh here, back again with another video, and today we're going to continue our discussion on mutants in the Ben 10 franchise. I know last week I didn't actually, I had to cut the video short because I wasn't feeling myself and there was more things I wanted to say and comment on, so we're going to go into a more deeper discussion on what mutants actually are in the Ben 10 universe, how did they come to be, and more so what the franchise could have gained from having mutant characters in its series. So mutants, if you didn't watch the last video, mutants aren't necessarily a thing that has been seen since the original series, which came out in 2006, and a little bit of Alien Force. Mutants aren't really a touched upon topic too funny when it comes to characters such as like Michael Morningstar or Cooper or Kevin 11, but he's a whole nother category within, so which we're going to talk about in this video today. They're not a really focused on topic, which at the end of the day Ben 10 is more so about the sci-fi elements with aliens and some magic elements in there too, but mutants all in all aren't necessarily focused on topic. In fact, I kind of forgot mutants even existed in Ben 10 after, like, say Ultimate Alien or Alien Force, and I even forgot Michael Morningstar was a mutant. And with mutants, their powers do vary. You have a mutant like Cooper that can control machines. You have, I really don't want to call Michael Morningstar a mutant. You have Michael Morningstar, which can absorb energy and kind of release it and gain more powerful from it. And you have a couple of other mutants like the Circus Freaks. I can't remember their names, but their powers do vary. And then you have Zombozo, which somebody commented on my video last time saying that Zombozo wasn't a mutant, but I'm going off of what the Ben 10 wiki said. They said he was a mutant, but wikis can barely be trusted. But for now, I'm just going to go with the majority and say that Zombozo is a mutant, not necessarily a zombie. And when it comes to these characters, it's just a mystery of how these characters came to be, how they got their powers, because again, mutants aren't a focused on topic in this franchise. Now, comes to characters like Kevin. Kevin is one of those characters that have been retconned multiple times. He went from being just a normal mutant to an alien, to a half alien character belonging to a race of beings called Osmosians, and then being retconned back into a mutant per se, but not necessarily a mutant, more of a subspecies of human. Think of the alien races on Pterodino. You have Humongosaurus species and you have Astrodactyl species. That's pretty much the situation between the humans, normal humans, and Osmosians. Osmosians are a subspecies of human that exists in the Ben 10 franchise on Earth, but we've only seen two, that being Agrigor and Kevin. Now, if you could say Kevin's father, but those flashbacks that Cervantes, it's kind of difficult. We don't necessarily know if Devin Levin was an actual Osmosian or if that was memories implanted into Max Tennyson when he had that flashback of Kevin's father. let's just play it safe and say we've only seen 2 Osmosians, in case, again, that was a fake memory. We've only seen two Osmosians. We don't really know if there's others out there. But what Osmosians are a race of subhuman that have the ability to absorb energy. And before you say it, no, Michael Morningstar is not an Osmosian. Their powers work completely different. Kevin and other Osmosians have the ability to absorb different powers, different range of abilities, like electricity and metals and wood, and even the powers of other aliens, and can use those powers to their advantage. But if they absorb too much, it could cause them to lose sanity and control, depending on the age of the Osmosian. Because when it comes to a character like Agrigor did not lose his sanity when he absorbed all those aliens' powers. When it came to Kevin 11, he lost sanity just due to the fact he wasn't necessarily, I think it is an age thing. I think that was said in Ultimate Alien. Like I said, I learn new things about this show every day, even if I've watched it for a long time. But I think it was an age thing where certain Osmosians can absorb a lot of powers and energy and keep their sanity, while Kevin has a hard time, keeping his sanity in control. So with that being said, it didn't really take, as Kevin got older, I think about a year or so, because the time period between Ultimate Alien Omniverse is shorter than you actually think. So when Kevin absorbed all those aliens for the final time, the last time we saw him amalgamize, if that's even a word, the last time we saw him, when he absorbed all that energy, Ben actually thought he went insane, but he actually didn't. But I think it was only because of Cervantes' brain blast. The point is, it's an age difference. Some Osmosians, when they're older, they can control it. Other Osmosians can't control it. The point that I'm trying to convey is Osmosians are a different breed entirely. They're mutants, but they're not mutants. Let's just say that. They're just a subspecies of human. Similar to, like, say, Homo erectus or Homo habilis, the subspecies of the other species of human that have once lived on this earth. While mutants are humans that just have a special gene or something like that. And that's another thing too. I remember in my last video I said that either when Cesar sent the nanites over to Ben's world, he didn't know. I thought that maybe some of those nanites may have gotten into some of those humans, and the more that I thought about it, the more that I kind of thought it was kind of a stupid theory. I mean, it could have worked, but it couldn't. And I thought that the more plausible theory was that some of the characters that are labeled as mutants are actually descendants of aliens that have came to the planet before, which again could still be a possible theory. There's nothing to rule it out. But let's just pretend for a second that mutants are just a natural fact of life when it comes to the Ben 10 franchise. That is a really huge missed opportunity when it comes to this franchise. Because what you could have done was, which they kind of did in Alien Force, but those characters were more or less alien hybrids, which the only 2 mutants they came across were Cooper and, well, meeting back up with Cooper after the events of the original series, and then you had Michael Morningstar, which I still don't want to count because he seems more of a magic-based character now than anything else. And that was a really missed opportunity to kind of have an arc that brought Ben more back down to Earth and the events that happened on Earth, kind of taking a break from all the space related stuff, the alien related stuff, and kind of focus more on what Earth is about, which Secret Saturdays kind of did, but it's I have a video planned, still working on that video. But when it comes to things of that nature, Ben has barely, it's been a while since Ben has actually fought anything Earth-based. We're talking about Ben Prime, of course. The majority of the threats he's been fighting as of late, is alien-based. And I think it would have been awesome to kind of explore more of the mutant side of things. And again, if mutants are a natural part of life, kind of introduce some new characters, like, say this character just recently discovered his abilities, he doesn't know how to control them. Because when it comes to Ben 10, Ben is pretty much the only sole superhero of that franchise. Of course, you have characters like Zack Saturday and the Galactic Enforcers, but the Galactic Enforcers are more so a galactic superhero team, and you barely see them. You've only seen them like a handful of 3 times in the entire franchise. And you have characters like the Secret Saturdays, which aren't necessarily superheroes, they're more of like a family of scientists. Zack is kind of a superhero, kind of not. I mean, he's still, which makes Ben pretty much kind of the sole superheroes. The Amalgam kids are plumbers. They're not superheroes officially. And same thing goes for Kevin and Gwen. They're superheroes along with Ben, but they're not necessarily in the spotlight. Everybody knows Ben. And the superheroes that we do, the Earthbound superheroes that we did see in the original series, like Kangaroo Commando and then Ultimate Alien with Captain Nemesis, they turned into villains. So you either have superheroes that have turned into villains due to Ben showing them up, or you have characters that could qualify as superheroes but are not necessarily superheroes. They're more or less cops. Same with Cooper. Cooper is a plumber first, superhero second. Same with the Amalgam kids. Plumbers first, superhero second. Where you have Ben, he's a superhero first, he's a plumber second. Ben has that Green Lantern situation. When people think of Green Lantern, people think of him as a superhero first, a space cop second. So Ben is kind of that same scenario. But if mutants are a natural part of the Ben 10 franchise, that is a missed opportunity to kind of explore more of that side of the Ben 10 universe, with new characters discovering their powers and kind of building a universe of superheroes and beating universes like Zagtoon to the punch or Tales of Arcadia to the punch. Ben could have established his own original superhero universe before Zagtoon even had the idea, which I'll be honest, I think they had that stuff in, I don't know, with Zagtoon. It's confusing. Stuff takes too long to come out for them. They could have had that stuff planned out probably as early as 2008. But Ben 10 as a franchise could have evolved from a concept like that. Having other characters discover their abilities, you could have had multiple different episodes setting up different superheroes and stuff like that. And then when the time came, you could have had separate shows kind of exploring that world, or wherever they are on that side of the world, and like their own city, fighting their own villains and stuff like that. And Ben can come around every once in a while to say, hey, what's up, I heard you needed help, like a little shared universe. And then when it's time for that big old crossover, you have characters that were first introduced in an episode of Ben 10 now established as their own superhero. Kind of hits the way the Secret Saturdays and Ben 10 crossover hit, because in large part Secret Saturdays was nothing more than a glorified Ben 10 spinoff, now that you go back and look at it, because there were a lot of references. There were like 3 or 4 references to Ben 10, and I don't even think Man of Action worked on the Secret Saturdays. I don't know, leave a comment in the comment section below if they did. I'm not really sure, Silent Talent, if you're watching this, please, if that's true and I'm wrong, then I'm sorry. But overall, that was a really bad missed opportunity to kind of grow Ben's superhero landscape up a little bit more than what it already was. Because as I said before, Ben in large part is the sole superhero of his universe. I mean, you have Zach, but he's not necessarily a superhero. Whereas you have Ben, he's practically the only superhero in that universe. Maybe Captain Nemesis and Kangaroo Commando were at some time, but again, due to their hatred towards Ben, they turned into villains. So Ben is pretty much, he's not the only one protecting the Earth, of course, but he's the only official superhero on Earth. The Galactic Forcers, yeah, they're superheroes, but they're galactic. It's in the name. They're not on Earth as much. So I think with the future of this franchise, as far as mutants and stuff are concerned, if Ben 10 does go back to form, or we do see the Prime Universe again, whether that be on, say, HBO Max, where like, okay, we're gonna, the younger generation gets the reboot, while the older audience, you know, we get to continue this universe that we had established in 2006 and it's on HBO Max or something like that. I think that will be interesting to see, as far as seeing more superpowered characters, because Ben 10 had a lot of potential as far as like other sources of media. It could have started a brand new superhero universe. I mean, when I was younger, I actually thought Ben 10 was a comic book character. I actually thought he was originally from a comic book, because the show was set up as somewhat like a, that's why I used to think about every single superhero show that came on. Lo and behold, that's not the case. Which, it's not a new concept. You had shows like Gargoyles in the past that were not necessarily based on any sort of comic book, but did grow a comic book franchise, though short-lived, in the Marvel Comics. And Ben is not the first of its kind to be that type of show, but it did revolutionize that type of show. You had shows like Danny Phantom, you had shows like American Dragon and Jake Long, which were pretty much all similar shows in its own right, but also different shows. But overall, the mutant concept could have been expanded on, explored much more, and in large part could have made the Ben 10 universe even bigger. But like I said, it was a topic that wasn't necessarily touched upon too funny, and I think it's a shame. You know, you could have had more superheroes. Ben could have had his own superhero team. I mean, besides Kevin and Gwen, because, well, I'm gonna kind of roll it back for a second because I kind of messed up. Gwen's kind of become a superhero the last time we saw her, because she became Lucky Girl, so you could say there's kind of two official superheroes in the Ben 10 franchise. 2 or 3 if you want to count Zach. But in large part, could have expanded on it more. You could have had more superhero-like characters in the franchise. But I want to hear what you all think. Let me know in the comments below. We're almost at that 100 mark. I can't believe we're almost there. But yeah, I hope y'all are doing well. Let me know how your day is going, and peace.